We welcome you to the football show with Pioneer coach Jerry Odom as the Tusculum Pioneers welcome the 20th ranked West Alabama Tigers to Pioneer Field this past Saturday, our second consecutive Gulf South team. They knew they were going to be a great passing offense. They did throw for over 350 yards in the contest. The Pioneer two quarterbacks, in Bryce Moore and Joaquin Collazo, were solid. However, that West Alabama defense is pretty solid as well. We welcome in the coach Jerry Odom as the Pioneers. You knew coming into this, we're going to be down a little bit with some of our players, just some of our personnel that we did have.
Yeah.
First ever meeting with this team, and coming in, a team that won 8 games last year, went to the NCAA playoffs, have some high hopes this year for that. They come on the road this week, and they handled us.
They did.
They were pretty good up front, especially on that offensive line, allowed that offense to really flow. You said really worried now that you saw it live. Were you impressed with what they were able to do and the way they were coached?
I think their schemes are really good on the passing stuff. I've told the OC before the game I respect like what they do, and they've got really good personnel. I mean, you look at several of the plays, they had probably 2 50, 60-yard catches that were just great plays. Now, at the end of the game, we busted one, and then we busted one with the ones. So that's the only part that I'm bothered with. I thought we held the running game in check pretty good. It was hard to get pressure on them. They full slid a lot more than I expected them to. Right now, a lot of people are full sliding on us, so I'm going to work a lot of full slide this week because they hadn't shown that. They were about half slide before that, so we thought we'd get pressure in certain things. And sometimes we did hit them, but you had to blitz to do it a lot of times. They got matchups on us, and they won the matchups. That's what it came down to on the defensive side of the ball. And obviously the kicking game being a major issue, I don't think it's schematic more than it is people, but we're going to have to change some things. There's no doubt about that. But we can't start 6 times inside around 35-yard line and expect to hold that offense to the kind of points that they scored what about I expected. We just didn't play very well. I'm frankly embarrassed with the effort on defense. I thought offensively, we knew going in this game it was going to be really hard. Played 3 true freshmen in the offensive line. Our best tight end was out. Our best receiver was out. You start taking away that. It's like I tell people all the time, your O-line's the engine of your car. Yeah. And we were in a truck with a moped engine the other night is the way I look at it. You can't get anything going if you can't run the football and you're playing guys who frankly are young. Now we'll get a couple of those guys back hopefully this week. I'm praying for that anyway, we've got to get better in that aspect of it, or it's going to continue to be a long year. We've got to play better on defense as a whole. I was embarrassed. I think our guys were embarrassed. We are not used to giving up those types of plays and points. Right. Give them credit. They made some plays, but the busted assignments, we didn't tackle as well as I wanted us to. We didn't disguise coverage like I wanted us to. I thought some of our young guys played pretty well. I thought our backers played well again. I think, Jackson Coffin played very, very well. Ivan played his usual game for the most part. Nick Jackson, who came in as a first-time starter, I thought played really well, and we were able to get Tycorian Brown in the game and play some nickel, and we may have to do a little bit more of that moving forward. But Tycorian, really played pretty well too for a first, a true freshman coming in there. He's got a lot of ability, and I've got high hopes for him.
So West Alabama team that wins their season opener against Limestone and then goes on the road for the first time, knocks off Tusculum, so they go 2-0 against the South Atlantic Conference. Coach won't want to, but we're going to watch some of the highlights now of the Tusculum West Alabama contest. You alluded to that. The running game, only 88 yards rushing. And really, I think the very first series, you forced a 3 and out in the contest. So I think you got the type of start that you wanted.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I thought our kickoff cover was a lot better compared to last week. I thought that was a place we did improve. But this is the issue, when you're, and that was all on the shield. We've got to step down inside. There's certain guys you can't block. If they're bringing, 9, you've got to step inside. And then the first play, they run an easy play. We just, we had an defensive end right there. Solo didn't come down hard enough. He's got to make the tackle. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So they kick off to us. Again, we do a pretty good job blocking this thing up. Thurlow gets, had we gotten one more guy right there, I think obviously he'd have scored, but it was pretty well blocked at a hole. And then I thought our offense came in and competed. Right there, we're running a little bit of the zone. We threw the ball well. Did some good things. Bryce buys a little time right here. He really didn't have to step up. The protection there was pretty good. We ran a little rub route combination to Chavis and get a touchdown. So we're right back in this thing. Then we come back and great play by D. Alford right here, high point in the ball. Then we go, back in the game. Like I said, they had some time, but we played physical when we had to, but we busted way too much for us. I thought there was some good plays, got a little blitz. Jackson Coffin, catches them on a jet sweep. We try to go to a blitz. This is a good throw and catch. Now, right now, we got to get him on the ground. I did not like our safety play. It was horrible right there. We've got to get to the post so we can get some help. Right here, one of our veteran safeties lines up on the wrong side, makes our young safety go to the other side, and we don't have a guy there. It's just like we did some things, and obviously Malik not being in there really hurt us because he runs the show. Great play by Jackson Coffin there. We hit him in the face. This is a good throw and catch. We got to take away the inside, but it's a good throw and catch. And, what you're not seeing is they're scoring, but, they're getting the ball down there a lot. And this is a heck of a throw and catch. I wasn't sure he got in bounds, but I couldn't tell if his left foot came down early or right foot, but they gave it to him. Pretty good coverage by D. I thought we ran the counter pretty well the other night. What you notice about them is they're just a physical football team. They're very well coached.
11 to the ball.
11 to the ball, physical, smart. We blitz sometimes. We go a cover 2 blitz, and we finally get the guy back there. We get a pick. It was, like I said, I thought we played well against the run, but what we didn't do, like right here, I think the next score they get, we're in a cover 2 blitz. We're supposed to be bracketing the guy. 2 guys bracketing. We got a backup corner in there who I don't know what he's doing, but we're supposed to be bracketing that guy on the backside with the bandit and the corner, and neither one of them cover him correctly. And that's the kind of stuff that I was embarrassed about. I don't mind getting beat. A team that's better, they're better. Okay, but when we give up silly things and we don't look like we're coached, and I know we've been coached on those things, that more than anything else bothers me. Good job by Joaquin Collazo on the last couple drives, gets in for the score to get the last score of the game, and then they end up, obviously whooping us pretty good. I just, like I said, I want to apologize to everyone out there because, like I said, you're going to lose some games here and there, but when you look like you're not well coached, that's the part that bothers me, and we did not look well coached, and that's my fault, 100% on me. I will never blame anybody else. Now, as far as ownership on how we play the game, that's got to be on everybody on this football team. Coaches, players, managers, trainers, everybody. And it was embarrassing, and you will not see another situation like that from us ever.
Bryce Moore, Joaquin Collazo, again, these freshman quarterbacks, I think, showing a lot of poise and playing well. Bryce Moore, 11 of 20, and Joaquin Collazo goes 8 of 19. And I think this game boils down to about 2 aspects. Number one, the block punt really kind of changed momentum a bit. You did answer, and then the start of the second half, a little mix-up there on the special teams, taking a knee on the half-yard line creates the safety. And then the 2 more block punts that you had to start the second half, which gave them great.
It was actually 1 more block punt. They said that the other one was tipped. It should have been a first down for us. It was not tipped. Again, nice call. But anyway, when you go back and look at it.
At home.
When you go back and look at it, they weren't even close to tipping the ball. And that's a little bit of the disappointing part. Because we got some calls that were tough, but that's part of the game, but that one especially, because they went in and got another, I think we did maybe hold them to a field goal right there, but it just, at the end of the day, the Shield did a terrible job of what they were supposed to do, and we've got to, it's like I said, I don't think it's necessarily a schematic error, it's a personnel error that will get corrected, but we will change some schematics too. I don't know how much more we can work on that team, but now everybody's going to take a shot at us. And that's what I told the team. I said, we've now allowed ourselves, because of, last week one guy screwing something up. Now this week the same guy screwing something up in the same position. we've now open ourselves up to every week we're going to deal with this. And so just get ready. We're going to practice this for 30 minutes a day if we have to.
Yep. It's a Pioneer team that has to run the football to be successful offensively. 88 yards on the day. Again, it was tough sledding with you when you don't have, as you say, the full engine out there on the offensive line. And then on the flip side of that, a Pioneer team that's not been able to get a ton of pressure on a quarterback, and against the passing team, I guess your scheme really doesn't allow you to do that either. You can't sit there and blitz every single down because then you're limiting yourself, you're opening yourself up on the back end. Those are just a couple of things I think from the beginning against Gulf South competition that I think we see 370 pounds, 331 and 332 right there in the middle. Tough to get around some of those guys, but that kind of shows what they have.
Yeah, they're a good football team.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that is an excuse for us not to do what we're supposed to be doing, but they are a very good football team, and they were 5 seniors up front, and they're a senior-laden offense. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, I think the quarterback and 1 running back and 1 receiver were the only underclassmen in the whole offense. So they were a veteran group, and they played like it, and we didn't. So that's the disappointing part.
Guys that have stuck out for me through the first 2, Jackson Coffin. You kind of already talked about him. Ivan Hogan, who continues to do what he does every single week. So a couple of defensive stalwarts for you. Are you surprised a little bit about the way Jackson has been able to handle himself?
No, not at all. I think Jackson's a very smart football player. Obviously, his dad's a defense coordinator at Houston. Grew up in the thing. Really good kid. 4.0 GPA guy. Very conscientious on everything that he does. I'm not surprised in the least bit. Really cares about wanting to do the right thing, and I think moving forward, he's going to be a really good leader on this team, for years to come. But no, I'm not surprised that Jackson's doing what he's doing at all. I kind of expected it, and we hold our linebackers to a pretty high standard.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing, and we're getting good play for the most part out of those guys.
Turn the page. Pioneers fall to West Alabama. Move our attention to the South Atlantic Conference. Limestone, they'll be up next from Gaffney, South Carolina. We'll chat with Pioneer coach Jerry Odom about that when the Pioneer Football Show continues.
So much of life these days is rushing around from one place to another. Sometimes you just want to enjoy the journey on the way to the destination. And part of what makes it a little more enjoyable is an appreciation for the folks who help you get there. At Ingalls, we know that the people who send you on your way are the same ones who keep you coming back.
I think you should take it for a spin. Are you serious?
Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
Back into the Pioneer Football Show, Tusculum and Limestone this coming Saturday with Pioneer coach Jerry Odom. Coach, a Limestone team that I think has shown some real promise here to open up the season. This is not the Limestone team of last year where they were going through a little bit of a struggle. They seem to have righted the ship just a little bit. What is a concern with you with Limestone?
Well, I think defensively they're playing better football. Just watching them, they're running the ball better. They got a new defensive coordinator. Playing more quarters, a little bit of different things on 3x1, blitzing a good bit on 3rd down. They've got a good, they just look schematically better.
Yeah.
Their guys are playing hard for them. I think on offense, the Patton kid at running back to me is one of the best guys in the league. I think he's been probably an underrated and undervalued guy in this league, and over the last couple of years, he can catch the ball, he runs the ball, he's 200 pounds, he's physical. He does a lot of good things. I think the running backs as a whole are pretty good. And then their quarterback is a big play type guy. He's only completing like 47% of his balls right now, but it's probably because he takes a lot of deep shots. You know what I mean? And when you look at like the West Al game, he threw for 340 yards on West Al. Now he had 3 or 4 big plays, and that's what we've been giving up.
Yeah.
So that's the part that scares me the most. It's not. We'll play, 45, 50 plays exactly right, and then we're giving up big plays, and we've got to remedy that. And I'm going to work on some different things this week to help ourselves remedy that. I think offensively, their offensive line looks like they're solid. They're still young. They're, kind of like us in that aspect. But no, I think Coach is doing a good job over there, and they played. West Georgia really, really tough. I think they played them tough last year when I watched them. West Georgia tends to play a lot of man. They're a straight man-to-man team. They don't care what you do, and I think this guy does a really good job scheming people that do just, man, that coverage. So we've got to be able to play multiple things so we don't get schemed. Because I think if you play one or two things, he'll scheme you. You know, and that's one of the things we've got to do a better job of. I'm gonna go back, do a lot of self-scout on myself and look at what we do and what we can change up, because we can show a lot of different things, but we've got to do it the right way. I mean, we've had busts now 2 weeks in a row by seniors, which really bothers me, for touchdowns. And those guys, we had a real good talk, I think, as a defense yesterday when we watched this tape together. And I think they understand accountability to each other has got to be the number one thing. For us to be a good football team, we have to be accountable to each other. You got to be accountable to your brother. You can't let them down. And I think what's happened is we've let a couple, things go, and we were less accountable than we need to be. And we're going to get that ship righted. That's a promise. And, no matter what I have to do, we'll get it righted. But they're a good football team. I told our kids, I said, yeah, we started out 0-2. So what? All our goals are still out there. I look at Wingate last year. I think they started 0-2 and ended up going to the playoffs. So, we're a better football team than we played the other night. I think we played two very good football teams. But I think we've got to get healthy. We've got to play physical, and we got to play smart. And the things that we're not doing, we're not playing physical enough for me right now, and we're not playing smart. I need 11 hats to the ball. We're going to fly around this week in practice. We need a physicality in the running game. And I'm gonna find 5 offensive linemen that are gonna do that. Right now they may be bandaged up and walk out there with crutches. I'm not sure which. I've never been this beat up in the offensive line in the history of anywhere I've been. When 3 and 4 of your best 7 offensive linemen are out, that obviously hurts you, especially against a team like the 2 teams that we've played. So hopefully we can get a few of those guys back. That would be really, really helpful. Because right now we're not playing with the physicality and who I am. This is not the type of, and it doesn't mean we don't have good kids that work hard. We do. We have really good kids that work really hard, but we just got to be more physical, more attention to detail, and more accountable to each other.
He's Pioneer coach Jerry Odom. Pioneers have opened up 0-2 against Delta State. They fall. Delta State loses their first game last week as they traveled up to Michigan and fell to the 6th-ranked team in the country, Grand Valley State, because of a dropped touchdown pass with 0 time left. And West Alabama comes to the Pioneers and Pioneer Field and gets their 2nd win of the season. Pioneers open up South Atlantic Conference play in the Heat in South Carolina in the Palmetto State at Gaffney High School at the Reservation this coming Saturday. By the way, I-85 off of 26 is close, so I don't know how we're going to get there to the stadium, but we'll figure out a way to get to the stadium.
I didn't know that.
There. Yeah, so make sure the bus driver realizes he has to find some kind of an alternate route. Or
Super.
We may not get there on time.
Why is it closed?
They're doing construction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one of those things.
Super.
Just look that up.
Okay.
Pioneers and the Saints this coming Saturday. Join us on the Pioneer Sports Network. We'll kick off our coverage at 12 o'clock. Game will kick off at 1 o'clock from the Reservation. For the coach, Jerry Odom, and everyone behind the scenes here for the Pioneer Sports Network, Nick Forsberg, Dom Donnelly, Jim Miller, and all of those involved, I'm Brian Staten. Until next week, go Pioneers.